Hi guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon based upon your locations from wherever you're joining. So it's been quite a while that I've posted the BDD's interview uh, strategy as well as the basic BDD videos on my YouTube channel. And I would like to welcome all of you to Dev's software tutorial YouTube channel. Please go ahead uh, and do watch all the videos that are related to software technologies. And if you feel, you can go ahead and you can subscribe to get all the updates. Fine. So today's discussion will be on BDD interview questions and answers. I thought of discussing all the BDD interview questions and answers so that you guys can go ahead and prepare yourself. And I have picked up 20 questions from various sources, and we'll discuss on how to answer all those questions, what are the strategy that is required to think like BDD so that you can go ahead and crack any interviews. It can be a service-based interviews, it can be a product-based interviews, and to make all the interviews successfully happening. Fine. So let's begin, guys. Fine. So let me open my Visual Studio Code. So in my previous two videos, what I have done is I have shared the knowledge of how to write BDD code and what do you mean by BDD and what is Gherkin, what is Cucumber. So we have mentioned this Cucumber framework, and I didn't got a chance to go ahead and show you the Cucumber framework, like how it is integrated in Selenium, because what I do is I go ahead and integrate Cucumber with Selenium. So this particular system from where I am sharing this particular video, this is not built with Selenium. I have not installed or I have not extracted Selenium over here. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead, we'll make a brief discussion, and we'll see how we can take it forward in terms of discussing all the interview questions. Fine. So that it can be very helpful to all of you guys. Fine. So let me open this keyword notepad. Fine. So I have written 20 interview questions. So let me go ahead with the first one. Explain Cucumber shortly. So what do you mean by Cucumber, guys? Cucumber, again, it's a tool. It's a name of a tool that is based on behavior-driven development methodology. Fine. And before I begin this particular discussion, I would like to scroll down and give you a brief idea in a nutshell that I've written. Let's see what is BDD. Uh, BDD is a methodology, guys, because we have discussed on the previous two videos as well what is BDD and how we use Gherkin parser, okay, or we use Gherkin as a English language in a simple plain text form, and what are those keywords, okay, what is data table, what are like what is scenario outline, why scenario outline is used, what is scenario, what is background, okay, what is example. So what are the different steps that are that we can write in a particular feature file? What is the extension of feature file? So all those things we have already discussed in a detailed manner. Now in a nutshell, just remember these three lines. These three lines here. What is BDD? BDD is a methodology to understand the functionality of an application in a simple plain text representation. Along with BDD, we will know what Cucumber is all about now. So what is Cucumber? Cucumber is a tool that represents BDD. Fine. So Cucumber is a tool that represents BDD or that uses BDD. There is another tool called JBehave. I have not worked upon JBehave. I don't have much exposure in terms of JBehave. I have worked in Cucumber. It's a simple tool, and I just want to open a notepad and I just want to show you, because this will give you a clean idea of what we go ahead and we map the feature file to our test runner as well as to my test definition, how it works in terms of execution purpose, in terms of test automation purpose. How do we automate all those things in Selenium? Fine. So think like this. This I'll have my feature file over here. Okay. So this is my dot feature. So what is my dot feature? Dot feature is my extension. Cool. And what is this thing? This thing is my feature file. Okay. And over here, what will be there? I'll write given, when, then. Fine. This thing I'll write over here, given, when, then. Okay, this is my feature file. So what I'll do over here, I'll write this is my feature file. Cool. So after I create this feature file over here, this is my Visual Studio Code. You can create the feature file in Notepad++ as well. Fine. You can create the feature file in Notepad as well. This is a simple notepad. You can create the feature file here as well, but in the extension you have to give dot feature. Fine. We have discussed all those things earlier as well. Now let's take it one step forward. So this is my feature file. So corresponding to this particular feature file, what will be there? Remember guys, I have shown you the step definition, how to go ahead and write step definition. Suppose this is my feature file. What I'll do, I'll copy paste the same thing in Tidy Gherkin. What is Tidy Gherkin? It is another plugin. This is a Chrome plugin that we use. Okay, what it will do, it will go ahead and give my step definition. Fine. What I have to do, I have to paste my Gherkin over here. Fine. And what I'll do from here, I'll click on Java steps. See, these are all my step definitions. See, we call these as a step definition. And what are these? These are my annotations: @given, @when, @then, @and. Okay, these are my all annotations, and this is in Java. So similarly, what I'll do is I'll open my GitHub. This is my GitHub guys, ghostdev786, and what I've done is, see, so we have all the folder structure, src Java. Okay, src test. So all my tests would be under src test, and here the structure will be like this: feature, runner, step definition. Okay, if I go ahead and click on feature, you will have all the feature over here. See, so these are all my feature. So in my feature, what are there? I'll open the first one. See, Flipkart login validation. So this is my feature. What is my scenario? To verify user is able to log in to Flipkart successfully. Given user is on the Flipkart login page, when user enters valid username and password on the Flipkart, and the user clicks on button on Flipkart page, then the user is able to successfully log into Flipkart portal. This is a single scenario. I have not used data driven. Fine. If I go ahead and use data driven, how it should look like, I'll go ahead and I'll show another example of a feature file. This is inline parameters I have used. You remember inline parameter? We have discussed inline parameters in my previous videos. Inline parameters is useful only for a single step. That's the disadvantage. But you can use it. For knowledge purpose, you can use it. Fine. So what I have done, see, same thing. Here I have used LinkedIn login validation. And see, so these are my values. Values of what? Values of these keywords, username and password. This is my username and this is my password. Fine, cool. Looks good. What I'll do, I'll show you some examples. Sorry. I'll show you some examples of my data tables as well. So again, this thing is of similar behavior. Let me go ahead and show you some more examples. This is again a simple validation. See, here I have used the concept of maps as well. So again, what is this? This is again my inline parameters. What I have used the concept of username and password over here. Okay, I have used the concept of username and password over here. Fine. So why I am showing you all these things? I'm showing you all these things just to give a step ahead, that what are the things that I can map. So this is my feature file. So after this feature file, what I should do, I should go ahead and I should have my step definition. So how do I go ahead and have my step definition? These are my step definition guys. These are my step definition. So let me go ahead. What is this thing? This is my free CRM, right? Free CRM maps.feature. So what I'll do is I'll open the step definition free CRM map. Fine. This is my maps. See the extension, it is .java. So this is my Selenium code. Fine. This is all my Selenium code. So how do I relate? So see, these are my step definition @given, and these are my, I'll show you how to go ahead and write it in a separate video altogether. This is I have integrated with Selenium. Fine. And how do I map over here? So here what I'll do, I have to write the corresponding step definition. So what is this thing? This is my step definition. Fine. We call it as a step definition. Cool. And here what it will be? It will be corresponding at the rate given, again corresponding at the rate when, again corresponding at the rate then, again corresponding at the rate and. See, here also I have used, see, at the rate given. See, this is my when, this is my and, this is my then. Fine. Looks cool. This is how it works. Fine. Now how do I bind these two? These two things are related, right? How do I bind these two? So to bind these two, what I'll do, I'll have my test runner class. So here what I have to do, I have to go ahead and write a test runner class. Fine. What will be there? Here what I'll do, I'll bind my feature file and my step definition. Cool. This is the objective of test runner class. How do I go ahead and bind all those things? I'll open a simple test runner class. See, this is the test runner class. This is the thing. So what are the various things that I can go ahead and I can declare over here, or I can write over here? See, I will use different annotations at the rate run with, okay, cucumber.class, at the rate cucumber options. In the feature, what I'll do, I'll mention the location or I'll mention the path of that particular feature file. In my glue, I'll mention the path of the step definition file. Okay, in plugin, what I'll do, these are different output or different format of output. In plugin, I can have JSON format. Okay, in plugin, I can have HTML format as well. So these are all my keywords, guys, which are used in test runner class. I'll use monochrome. Monochrome is to display the console output in a readable format. I'll have dry run. Okay, so again, we used to go ahead and check whether all the step definition they're like one-to-one mapped with my feature file or not, or there is a mismatch or there is a gap. Suppose I have written one step definition and there is no corresponding feature file attached to it. Okay, or I've written one feature file, there is no corresponding step definition. So immediately it will go ahead and give me that particular missing steps in my console. Fine. I'll have strict, it will check that if any step is not defined in the step definition file. So these are all my keywords, guys. What are the keywords that I'll use in a test runner? But what is my test runner? This is how it looks like. So after this, so see, the main objective of this particular video is to make you guys aware of what is test runner, what is step definition, what is my feature file, and how do I go ahead and connect all these things. Cool. So I will connect this feature file and step definition in the form of test runner class. This is the class that will help me to bind these two. Fine. So this is a complete overview so that you guys can understand and you guys can think like that. Fine. So in my later on videos, what I'll do is I'll post some videos on Cucumber framework as well, because this video's objective was to discuss on BDD, how to write BDD, how to implement BDD, how to think like BDD. Fine. In my next videos, what we'll do, I'll have a different videos on Cucumber framework. So Cucumber itself is a tool, as we have already discussed, and it follows BDD methodology. Fine. Okay, I'll open the notepad. So this is what it is. See, Cucumber is a tool that uses behavior-driven development. There is another tool called JBehave, just for your good to know information. But Cucumber is widely used. And it is used to bridge the communication gap between various project stakeholders, definitely. So if I go ahead and elaborate these things, non-technical and plus technical. This is, you should always remember. Fine. In non-technical, I'll have my BAs, I'll have my management as well. Fine. In non-technical, this is how it looks like. I'll have my PO as well. Fine. And in technical, what I'll have my dev team, I'll have my QA team, I'll have my support team. Cool. This is how it looks like, guys. So it builds a bridge. Cool. And what is the third point? The main use of Cucumber lies in its simplicity to understand the usage of feature file by non-technical users. Cool. Fine, we'll discuss some questions and answers. So this is what Cucumber shortly. Fine. The main aim of behavior-driven framework, behavior-driven development framework is to make various project roles such as business analyst, quality assurance, developers, etc. understand the application without diving deep into the technical aspect. How they will going to understand? They are going to understand in terms of given, when, then. Fine. Cool. What language is used by Cucumber? Gherkin is the language that is used by Cucumber tool. It's a simple English representation of the application behavior, and Gherkin language uses several keywords to describe the behavior of the application such as features, scenario outline, given, when, then, etc. I'm not going into the details, guys. Reason being, we have already discussed in the previous videos. Just to give you a heads up, see, feature. What is feature? Feature is my very high level description. It's a very high level. It should be in a one-liner. Correct? It's a very high level. It's like epic that we use in Agile. Very high level. Okay? Scenario outline. What is scenario outline? The description of the scenario that we're using, or that we're going to automate, or that we're going to write in BDD format. Okay? The use case. What is scenario outline? Scenario outline represents the use case, the behavior of that particular use case, the functionality of that particular use case in simple English language. Fine. And why we are going to write outline? Because we are going to parameterize the values of my steps. See? So here, how do I go ahead and achieve this? I have achieved 4, or I have achieved 3 test cases over here. How many test cases did I achieve? I achieved 3 test cases. How to recognize? See, I have user 1, user 2, user 3, 3 users. So this particular test case will iterate these 4 lines. Fine. I'll repeat, this particular test case, user 1 will iterate these 4 lines. Again, user 2 will iterate these 4 lines. Again, user 3 will iterate these 4 lines. That means 3 users will iterate these 4 lines. That represents 3 test cases. How many test cases I have? I'll write it over here. How many test cases I have? In this particular example, 3. I'll have 3 test cases. Cool. So the test case count I have, that is 3. And why I have used outline? Reason being, I'm parameterizing user value, I'm parameterizing username values, I'm parameterizing password values. Fine. This particular row is known as my header, and these are known as my values that I'm passing. Fine. Makes sense, guys? Cool. What is meant by feature file? See, feature file must provide a high level description of an application under test, or you can write system under test. Okay, or you can write business use cases. Cool. The first line of the feature file must start with the keyword feature following the description of the application under test. So this is how it looks like. See, user login validation, scenario outline, given, when, then examples. So this is scenario outline. I'll take a normal scenario. See, account page validation, validation of account page layout fields. Fine. Given user is on the home page. When user enters valid username, so here I'll not parameterize. What I'll do, this is wrong if I have given this. This is how it should look like. Okay, when user enters valid username and password, and user clicks on the login button, and user navigates to account object. So here what I can do, I can use inline parameters, guys. You remembered inline parameters? Suppose my username is abc@y.com. Cool. This is what my parameters is all about. Fine. Valid username. And what I'll do here, again I'll mention, and the user enters valid password. And here what I'll do, cool, I'll mention the password. What is my password? 123. This is the password. And from here I'll delete this thing. Cool. This is a simple thing. So given the user is on the home page, when the user enters valid username and the user enters valid password. Fine, I'll remove this one. And the user clicks on the login button, and the user navigates to account object and clicks on the existing record, then account page window opens. Fine. So this is how it should looks like. Okay. So this is a simple feature file. Well, a feature file may include multiple scenarios within the same file. A feature file has the extension .feature. Right, guys? How do I recognize what is the feature? See, look at the top, .feature. So again, let me tell you, this is Visual Studio Code. What you have to do, we have to enable this particular plugin. How do I enable? This is the plugin name, Cucumber Gherkin Full Support. You just have to write it over here. Simple. It's a free tool. You just have to extract. You don't need to install. It's simple like Eclipse. You don't have to install. You have to extract the zip file. That's it. Start using it. Fine. So this is how it looks like. I'll go back to the next question. What are the various keywords that are being used in Cucumber for writing a scenario? So what are the general keywords? Or generally we use this. There is another keyword called but. So let me go ahead and mention this one as well. So I have given, when, then, and but. Okay. So generally what it like people, they say GWT structure. So what is GWT structure? Given, when, then structure, guys. This is how it looks like, GWT. Fine. These are the various keywords that are being used for writing a scenario. So see, I have written everywhere given, when, then, and please go ahead and watch my previous videos, guys, just to understand in a detailed manner what is given, what is when, and when to use what. That will give you a brief idea, a good idea, and that will help you to boost your confidence level as well. Fine. What is the purpose of a scenario outline in Cucumber? Scenario outline is a way of parameterization of scenarios. Parameterization represents passing multiple values. Okay, that is what parameterization represents, passing multiple values of my keywords, that is my scenarios. Fine. See, what I'm doing is I'm passing multiple values. My username here remains the same in my step, but in the examples I'm passing multiple values. How many values did I pass? 3 values I have passed: Dev, Debo, Debajyoti. Fine. This is what parameterization is all about. This particular step, these 4 steps will remain same. I am not doing any kind of hard coding. So what parameterization will do? It avoids hard coding. And I am a big fan of parameterizing. Reason being, I have already mentioned, you should always avoid hard coded. Okay, please don't do hard coding. Always try to reuse. That's the concept that you should build up on your mind. Always try to reuse. Fine. So what I'm doing, I'm reusing these keywords values over here. Fine. So suppose if this particular password changes, I don't have to do anything over here. What I'll do, I'll change only this particular pipe value over here. These are known as my pipes. Cool. Makes sense. We'll go back to the next question. Okay, here is okay, so here the 2 points are left. This is ideally used when same scenario needs to be executed from multiple sets of data. We have already discussed that. However, the test steps remains the same. Fine. What are my steps test? These are my test steps. So how many steps do I have? I have 4 steps. These are all constant. These are changing. What are these? These are my values that I passed. Cool. Let us read again. Let us read this thing again. This is ideally used when the same scenario needs to be executed for multiple times or multiple sets of data. So here what I'm doing, I'm executing this particular scenario, the same scenario again and again. How many times? 3 times. Cool. Scenario outline may be followed by keyword examples, which specify the set of values for each parameter. Examples. Set of values for each parameter. Fine. Fine. Which programming language is used by Cucumber? This is good to know information. Cucumber tool provides support for multiple programming languages such as Java, .NET, Ruby. What language we're using? We're using Java. How do I recognize that we're using Java? See, we're using Java over here. Okay. So this is what we're doing. We're using Java, and see it uses JUnit as well. So you can fetch all the test output in JUnit format as well. And here I have integrated it with Selenium. So what is Selenium? Again, it's an object-oriented API that we use for UI validation. Okay. Okay. So let us go ahead and discuss on the interview questions. We'll discuss on Selenium later on, no issues. Fine. Now see, it also integrated, or it can also be integrated with multiple tools such as Selenium, Capybara. So I've integrated it with Selenium, and I have pushed the code to my personal Git repository, and this is how it looks. This is my feature file, this is my test runner, and this is my step definition. Okay, see, .java. So this is how it looks like. Fine, cool. We'll go back to the next question. What is the purpose of step definition file in Cucumber? See, here I have already meant what is the purpose of step definition. So for each and every feature file, you will have a corresponding step definition, and all these keywords will be in the form of annotations. Right, guys? In tidy Gherkin also see @given, @when, @then, @and. In my file also, you see, this is my step definition. See, step definition, free CRM. This is the file name. Okay. And say @when, @and. So for all my corresponding feature file, I'll have my corresponding step definitions. Okay. And in step definitions, what I'll have all the navigations. I'll have all the logic. Fine. Cool. So see, a step definition file in Cucumber is to segregate the feature file from the underlying code. Each step of the feature file can be mapped to corresponding method on the step definition file. Fine. So what are these? These are all my methods. How do I identify? See, public void, user clicks on the button and it has the same name as it has on the and. Right? See, it has the same name. See, I have declared a public method. Fine. And in that method, what I'll have? Method contains logic. I'll have all my logic, all my instructions written in Java. So we'll discuss this particular file, how to write the step definitions and how to map in terms of Cucumber framework. So in Cucumber, we'll discuss on what are tags, what are hooks, how to define the hooks, what is the utilization of hooks, okay, what is the utilization of background, how do I go ahead and integrate POM. So again, we can integrate POM in this particular BDD framework, that is Cucumber framework as well. POM represents page object model. Fine, we'll define all those things in the POM file as well. Fine. So we'll use each and everything. Okay. We'll use all the tools that we use in Selenium, and we'll use Maven to have a folder structure. Fine. So we'll do that. We'll do that in my later videos. However, the objective of this particular video, as I have mentioned, it was only for BDD, how to write BDD. So I have seen many YouTube videos. I have seen many articles on how to go ahead and develop the POM, or how to go ahead and develop Cucumber framework in Selenium. You would go ahead and you'll find many videos. There are very good videos, there are very good articles as well. But there are very less people who have mentioned how to write BDD feature file. Because you should always remember, writing a feature file is itself a skill. You need to develop that skill. You need to develop that particular thinking capability, so that you can write your negative scenarios, positive scenarios in BDD in simple English language format using Gherkin, right? Given when then. So the objective of this video is to focus more on BDD, not to focus on Cucumber framework. We'll have later, I'll publish some videos later on Cucumber framework. Fine. So now the definition or the objective is to focus on how to write BDD, and these are some interview questions. These will help you to build the confidence. What are the questions that are being asked by the recruiters or by the interviewers. Okay, fine. So while feature files are written in an easily understandable language such as Gherkin, step definitions files are written in programming language such as Java, .NET, Ruby. Okay, it supports all those languages as well. What are the major advantage of a Cucumber framework? See, given there's a major advantage, and it's ideally a choice for agile methodology, guys, because like every day uh, all the like nowadays all the people or all the organizations, they are focusing on agile. Reason being, it will give you a good quality of product within a short interval of time. That's the main motive of agile, and it will be in an organized way. You should have each and everything in an organized manner. You don't have to wait for months and months to have a shippable product. Fine, that's the main motive of agile. Fine. So Cucumber is an open source tool. It's an open source tool, guys. It's a free of cost. It is available. It is not a proprietary one. It is available in terms of a jar file. You have to extend that particular jar file. Simple. And you have to build it on Selenium, or you can build it on Eclipse as well. You have to build it on Eclipse IDE. I'm sorry. You can build it on NetBeans as well. So any IDE you have to build it on. You have to build. That's it. Plain text representation makes it easier for non-technical users to understand the scenarios. Fine. Non-technical users represents PO, business analyst. Fine. It bridges the communication gap between various project stakeholders such as business analysts, developers, and quality assurance personnel. Sometimes QA people, they will go ahead and they'll not understand the whole thing. You remember black box testing, because sometimes it requires white box testing as well. However, it does require black box as well. Suppose your peer is reviewing all the scenarios. He doesn't know on the, like all the functionalities in depth. So what he does or what she does, he or she go through all the given when then. That's it. So that's how it helps. Automation test cases developed using Cucumber tool are easier to maintain and understand as well. Correct. So what are my automation test cases? These are my automation test cases, guys. This is my feature file, this is my runner, and this is one thing. Okay, so how many test cases here I have? Here I have two test cases. Okay, here I have two test cases. Okay, I have my Dengosh, I have my Naveen K. That's it. Here I have only two test cases. Fine. So it always helps to go ahead and maintain my test cases as well, guys. Fine. So that's how it is written. Automation test cases developed using Cucumber tool are easier to maintain and understand as well. Okay, we'll discuss more on that in my next videos. Okay. And it is easy to integrate with other tools such as Selenium and Capybara. I have not used Capybara, guys. This is Selenium. This example is of Selenium. Okay, I have built it on Eclipse IDE. So the idea that I use uh, to use Selenium is Eclipse IDE. Eclipse is readily available, and again what we do is we go ahead and we extract the jar file, and on particular jar file we go ahead and build the Selenium jar as well. Okay, so Selenium jar, as we all know, it's an object-oriented API which helps us to automate the browser activities, right? Fine. Provide an example of a feature file using Cucumber framework. Following is an example. Fine. So what I've done is I've taken this example. This is the example that I have, because here you won't be able to understand of this because of the color. This is the following example of a scenario. This is the following example, or you can take this as a following example. Feature, user login functionality, or verify user is able to log into the application. This is a simple scenario. Please do watch my previous videos, guys. I have very minutely, or it's a detailed explanation that I have done in my previous two videos. Please go ahead and take a look. This is just a discussion of interview questions and answer in a very short way, within 30 minutes, within 40 minutes, so that like before just going for an interview, or just while you're going to an interview, just log in to this particular YouTube channel and just have a look. That's it. Okay, this is just a refreshment kind of thing. It's a brush up, but to develop that BDD skill, you need to have those two videos. Cool. Fine. So provide an example. This is the example, and I have mentioned feature file, scenario. See, this is my feature, this is my scenario. I have mentioned given when then as well. Fine. We'll go back to the next question. Provide an example of a scenario outline as well. So you remember what is the difference between scenario and scenario outline? Let me write it over here. Scenario, it is used for single validation. Okay, what is scenario outline? It is used for multiple validation, guys. That's the difference. Multiple validation using parameterization concept. parameterization. That's the difference. Let me show this simple example again. This is my scenario. Only one single use case I'm writing, but the objective is I'm using only a single user. This is my single user. Okay, given user is on the landing page of the application. When user enters valid username and password and user clicks on the login button, then this is my validation. Then system displays login successful message. Fine, this is my positive scenario. And I am using only a single user, guys. Please focus, please concentrate. I'm using only a single user. Here what I'm doing, I'm using multiple users. Where I'm using here in my data table. User 1, user 2, user 3. These 4 steps remains the same. So if I want to use here, what should I do? I should go ahead and I should write examples. Fine, this is how it should looks like. Examples. You remember, guys, if I give different notations or different symbols, see, it's not changing the color. So that's how this particular tool is very useful, just to understand that whether I'm writing a correct one or a wrong one. Let me close this thing. Fine. So give a colon, and here always remember you should outline. You should always go ahead and see outline, and this is how it should looks like. Okay, and what would be the outline? This would be the thing. So you have to again given, greater than, and less than. This is the rule of this particular Gherkin editor, or you can say the language. Okay, and here what you are going to write, see, it's all coming. You see that, guys? Again, what you'll do, you'll write password. See, it's all taking. What are these? These are my headers. So what is username? Again, open pipe. This is my username. Fine. Just for the alignment purpose. What is my password? 54. This is my password. Again, this is for the alignment, guys. Again, I'll write here. This is my another username. Okay. Fine. And this is my another password. Suppose this is my another password, guys. And how do I make use of the users? So I have to make this user as a parameter as well. So I have to parameterize the value of user as well, so that I can identify how many users are there, right, guys? This is how I parameterize. Previously it was for a single user. Now it would be for multiple user, guys. See? Previously it was for a single user. Now it is for multiple users. And this is how it should look like. Fine. So here what I'll do, user 1. Here what I'll do, user 2. Just for the alignment purpose. Yep. So how many users are there? I have 2 user. User 1, user 2. This is my header. Fine. How did I pass all these things? Using examples. This is a keyword as well. Fine. This is how you should convert a single test case into multiple test cases using parameterization. See, I parameterize the value of user, username, and password. So how many values did I parameterize? 3 values. User, username, password. These are my 3 values. Cool, makes sense? We'll go back to the next question. So this is the example of scenario outline, guys. What is the purpose of behavior driven development methodology in real world? See, the purpose is just to represent that in a simple English plain text representation. That's it. In a simple English, I would mention as English as well. Plain text representation. That's it. Because it is very useful to go ahead and understand all these use cases. This is very helpful, very useful, guys. Fine, it makes sense. Cool. What is the limit of maximum number of scenarios that can be included in the feature file? Yep, this is a very good question. And here we generally we generally have 10 scenario. So 10 scenario represents here I can have 10 scenarios. Here now how many scenarios I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So like this I can have 10 scenarios. Now how many scenarios do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can give 10 scenarios. But the fact is, let me tell you, if the interviewer asks, okay, how many scenarios you can have? You can say, see, we can maximum contain, on maximum we can have 10 scenarios in a single feature file. However, it depends on project to project. It depends on the project functionality. It depends on the business use cases. Reason being, suppose here I didn't had 10 user or 10 use cases here, because see, each thing will represent one different use cases, right? Because my feature file, what my feature file is, my feature file will be a high level overview, right? This is a high level overview of my use case, guys. So always remember, what is my feature? This particular feature is my high level overview of my use case. So this is a single use case, right? In that particular use case, what you will do, you will write various scenarios, right? So what are those scenarios? Suppose this is my feature, and what are the scenarios? You will have UI validation. Okay, UI validation represents all your field level validation, right? So it will start like that. You'll at first what you'll have your field validation. Okay, all the fields that are present. Fine. After that, what you'll have your functionality validation. Cool. Functionality represents whether user is able to log in, whether he is able to see that particular thing, whether if you click that one, that particular page is populating, or that particular pop-up is populating, or that section is populating, that data is populating. It's all the functionality wise. Cool. Third, what you'll have? Third, you will have validation. Okay. We call it as a validation or notification message. Because you will have test cases where you click on that particular button, a message pops up. Where there is an error, you will see a message. So validation talks about my notification as well. After that, we will have error scenarios. Error represents my negative scenarios. Cool. Error always represents negative scenarios, because you have to do some permutation combination, because testing is all about to break the system. That's how we identify defect when there is a mismatch between my actual result and my expected result. That's why you log a defect at that particular point. So what we have to do is patiently we have to go ahead and we have to test all those features, and we have to implement all those things using BDD over here. That's the objective. So all these things I'll have many. So here I'll have many. So just for your understanding point of view, all these things will be in a single feature file. So for each and every feature file, you will have all these things very common. These things would be common. So again, in a feature file, you can have E2E scenarios as well, end-to-end scenarios as well. That combines separate or that combines many combines. Okay, I'll write it like this: combines many functionalities. Cool. E2E scenarios. So that's how you should go ahead and you should define. Okay. So in a single feature file, you will have all these things, and you can have maximum 10 scenarios, guys. This you should always remember. Maximum you should have 10 scenarios in a single feature file. So this is my basic Gherkin.feature. In my basic Gherkin.feature, how many scenario I have? Here you can mention like this. See, 1, 2. This is how you can number. See, 1, 2 I have given. Here also you can given, like you can give like this. Let me give like this you can give. Okay, here also you can give like this in a similar way. Fine, you can number. So maximum it can go till 10. That's it. Based on best practice, it should go till 10. But I have seen many projects, they are using 5, they're using 6, they're using 7. Okay. So this is how you should go ahead and think. And you should answer to the interviewer. Okay. So this is the thing. What is the limit of maximum number of scenarios that can be included in feature file? 10. Okay. But please go ahead and mention that it depends upon project to project. Okay. It depends upon the best practice that particular organization follows. Okay. See, but it is generally advisable to limit the number of scenarios included in a feature file. Cool. What is the use of background keyword in Cucumber? You remember, guys, we have used background keyword. This is background. So what is background? Background in Cucumber is to define the step or series of steps that are common to all the test scenarios in a feature file. So what I am doing here, I am using basic all my basic keywords, okay, that I have to used on each and every steps. Fine. So if I use BDD in Cucumber, I have to go ahead and write all my steps using these keywords only. There are no other keywords. But please follow, please focus. I'm using this particular line again and again. So suppose I have 10 scenarios. 10 times I have to write that particular thing. So as I've already mentioned, I am a big fan of reducing work. Okay? Because I don't do manual work very frequently. I go ahead and I automate all those things just to save time, to save effort. Okay, that's how you increase revenue of your project as well, right? So see, this repeated work I can avoid. How I can avoid? By this concept background. See, background. Given user is on the landing page of the Facebook. Now, here in my steps, in my scenario, I don't have given because I have already used given, and this is very common. You remember, guys? This is very common. See, I have not used given anywhere. See, it is starting from when. So this is the thing. So how do I go ahead and write it over here? If you want to implement this thing here, just copy paste the same thing in basic this thing, and where you should go ahead and write, see, below feature. That's how you go ahead and write. Background should be below feature and above scenario because it contains all the scenarios reusable steps or repeated steps. Okay, I will mention repeated steps. That would be the ideal one. Okay, so it should be after feature. Okay, after feature above scenario. Okay, so what is the thing? It should be user. This I'll copy. Okay, this is how it should look like. See, given user is on the landing page. Now what I can do is I can delete this thing from each and every scenario. See what I'm doing? Given user is on the landing page of the application. See, now what I'm doing? I'm deleting because I have already mentioned this particular step on background, and always remember, guys, background step will go ahead and execute for each and every scenario. This is very, very, very important. I repeat, background step would go ahead and execute for each and every scenarios, guys, because I have multiple scenarios, and this particular background step would go ahead and execute for each and every scenario. And always remember, I can have multiple background steps because here I have written only one, that is only given, because only given statement I am repeatedly using. But you can use multiple steps as well. Okay, I can have multiple steps in background. This is a very important concept, guys. There is an interview question. Can I have multiple step? Yes, I can have multiple step. Definitely I can have multiple step. Fine. So let me go ahead and show this thing again. Background in Cucumber is to define a step or series of steps, guys, that are common to all the test scenarios in the feature file. It allows us to add some context to the scenarios for a feature where it is defined. A background is much like a scenario containing number of steps, but it runs before each and every scenario where for a feature file it is defined. Fine. Please write it, these 4 points, please write it down in your notepad. I'd request you, and this will help you to build the concept. That's it. Fine. So see, this is generally used when the same set of statement or given statement are repeated in each scenario of the feature file. So generally what we do is we give the background as a given, because given are my preconditions. So generally we use the preconditions as a background. We don't use the actions because actions will change. Actions will change. What are my actions? Actions are my navigation that will change. That will keep on changing. So that's why we go ahead and give this background uh, as a given. So given is always used as a background, guys. Like 90% of the cases I have used or I have seen in my other organization as well, that they are using given as a background. Suppose they have two given, so that's it. Is there a landing page of Facebook and with this credential and with this username? So that's how they correlate. Okay, and using like this, they'll give using pop3 username. Okay, so that's how they generally write actually, because here what you're doing is you're adding two steps. User is on the landing page of Facebook and using pop3 username. So for pop3 you'll have different permutation and combination, because for a login scenario you can have more than 30 or more than 20 use cases. You can have web services, like you can think of the high level scenarios in terms of web service, in terms of UI, in terms of negative testing, in terms of positive testing, in terms of that button. Fine, you can have more than 10 to 20 scenarios. So that's how they go ahead and they behave, because what we do is, I'm currently working in a product based organization. We develop product, and for that particular product we have to develop as much scenarios as possible. So that's how we go ahead and we define all these things. Fine, cool. I hope you're able to understand. Okay, so this is the use of background keyword in Cucumber, guys. What symbol is used for parameterization? We use pipe to specify one of parameter values in a feature file. We use pipe. Where do we use pipe? Here. Here we are using pipe, guys. This is inline parameters for this thing. I'll show you parameters. This thing they are talking about. These are the pipes that we're talking about. User, username, password. These are the things that you're talking about, guys. These are examples. Okay. So generally what we call it as, pipe. Simple, P-I-P-E, pipe. And how do we go ahead and do that? Shift, and there is a thing beneath backspace. Just press that. That's it. We call it as pipe. How to go ahead and do that? Shift and that key. Simple. Cool. Makes sense. What is the purpose of example keyword in Cucumber? Examples keyword is used to specify values for each parameter used in the scenario. Scenario outline keyword must always be followed by keyword examples. So this is the concept. See, I have used this thing, I have used here as well. See, given when then, this is my verification of Facebook account creation for a new user. Fine. And see, here I have used this thing, examples. So here what they are saying, again we'll repeat, what is the purpose of example keyword in Cucumber? This is the purpose of example, just to pass all my values what I've parameterized. Okay, see what they have mentioned. Examples keyword is used to specify values for each parameter used in the scenario. Specify values for each parameter. So what we're doing, we are specifying values for which parameter? All the parameters. See, user. What are the keywords, or what are the validation point we have used? We have used user validation point, first name, last name, email, password. These are all my validation, guys. So what are the values that you parameterized? We have parameterized first name value, last name value, email value, password value, birthday value. These are all my values, guys. These are all my values. And here all these things would be as a header in example. So first row will always be header. Remember like this. First row will always be header. This is my header. Okay, because we have to make this particular Cucumber aware that, see, these are all my headers. You have to map all these values with corresponding headers. Fine, because we have to tell Cucumber. Cool. We have to tell Cucumber that for these particular steps, what I'm doing, I'm parameterizing these values. So here I'm passing all those values. So example keyword is used to pass all those values for the above parameterization. Cool. So these are my values. See, user 2, user, how many users did I pass over here, or how many users did I have? Do I have, how many users do I have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 users over here. Fine. Cool. What is the file extension for a feature file? Dot feature. This is my dot feature, dot feature, dot feature. Okay, please watch my previous videos, guys, just to have a brief idea. Okay, so file extension for a feature is dot feature. A feature file is ideally written in a notepad, or you can write this in notepad plus plus, and for that you have to download a simple extension that is available in Google. We call it as a Gherkin extension. Okay, notepad plus plus you can go ahead and write, and is saved with extension feature. Fine. Provide an example of step definition file in Cucumber. Step definition file is this one, guys. If I open my GitHub, this is my step definition file. These are my step definition file. So this is my one step definition. This is one step definition. This is one step definition. Always remember, it creates a method, and under that method you will have all your logic. Okay, all your actions that you want to do. Okay, these are my step definitions. Okay, so for this corresponding steps, they'll create a step definition over here. Okay, and they'll create a method. How Java communicate will have a method. Fine. And these are all my annotations. Fine. Cool. Okay, so what are the use of behavior driven development in agile methodology? Yep, that I have already mentioned. See, again they are saying the same thing. The advantage of behavior driven development are best realized when non-technical users such as business analysts use BDD to draft requirements and provide same to the developers for implementation. Always remember, guys, always try to use BDD when you have to club or when you have to build a bridge between non-technical and technical members. That's where BDD comes into picture. That's the objective of BDD. Cool? Makes sense, guys? Helpful? Fine. And another thing that I want to mention here is in agile methodology, user stories can be written in the format of feature file, and the same can be taken up for implementation by developers. Okay, so always remember, guys, BDD will be always like we'll use BDD in agile only, because for this thing, for this particular line, you will have a test management tool, because we generally use QC, right? But here what you can do is in test management tool which supports BDD, let me tell you, remember this thing, this will help you to understand more. There is a tool called HPLM Octane that supports BDD. This thing supports BDD and it is HPLM Octane. Always remember this, guys. In which tool, or suppose you have to propose your manager, okay, that you want to implement BDD. So for test management tool, there is HPLM Octane, and for test automation framework, I'll mention it like this. For test automation framework, okay, you have to use Cucumber. Okay, and what is the plugin that you use? Plugin we use in Eclipse. Plugin we use in Eclipse IDE. Natural plugin. There is a plugin that is available. Natural plugin. Open source. Everything is open source, guys. Open source. But yes, this HP ALM Octane is a licensed one. This particular one is a licensed one. It's a proprietary. It's not an open tool. Test automation framework Cucumber is open source, and this plugin in Eclipse, we call it as a natural plugin. This is also open source. Fine. So these are the tools. Okay. Explain the purpose of keywords that are used for writing a scenario in Cucumber. Yep. So we have already explained that. Again, let me go ahead and repeat. We'll repeat it from here. Okay. Given when then. What is my given? Given is a precondition. Cool. Given user is on the landing page. So this has to be there to execute this particular steps, to execute this particular use case behavior. What we are doing, we are executing the behavior. We are writing the behavior. What is behavior? The way it should behave. Correct? How that particular thing would behave. So that's what BDD is all about. What we're doing, we're focusing on the behavior of that use cases. We are focusing on the behavior of that particular functionality, that how that particular scenario would behave. So this is how it should behave. And to write or to implement that thing, we're using Gherkin keywords, right? Given, when, then, and, but. Fine. So again, given is my precondition. When is my action? Okay. When I'm going to the market, then I'll be able to meet the shopkeeper. when the sun rises, then the light will glow. Fine? That's how it should relate. Given when. What is my and? Combining all my actions. And are all my combining all my actions. And then is my outcome. This is my expected result. The ultimate product on my validation point. Fine? So let us go ahead and see. Given keyword is to specify precondition for a scenario. When keyword is used to specify an operation to be performed. See, I am using when the username enters, like when the user enters his first name. So what operation he is performing, what action he is performing, he is entering his first name. Cool. Then keyword is used to specify expected result of a performed action. What is then? Then Facebook account is created. So what is then? Then is my validation point. I'll write it like this. Then is my validation point, because in testing what we do, we go ahead and we check, right? So in test automation, what we do, we assert the validation, right? We assert the expected and actual, right? If there is a mismatch, we log a defect. Fine. So from test automation point of view, we use assert statement. Fine. And then Facebook account is created, expected result. So what is then? Then is my expected result or the outcome or the validation. And from this is from test automation point of view. Assert is always from test automation point of view. What we go ahead and we do, we go ahead and we assert. So if I go ahead and see, I have asserted. I have used assert equals and see, I have used assert. What is this assert I am using? Successful login. This is my message. Okay. So I am asserting this thing. And what is the thing? This is the title. So what I'm asserting the title. See, user successfully logged into the page. So I have to assert that one. Fine, and I'm printing that as well. This is a very simple code. Just for your understanding purpose, this is a simple Selenium code that I've write, and each thing is written in a step definition. So this is my step definition at the rate then, and this is under that I have my public method as well. Okay, this is my void. This is not returning anything. And finally, I have written driver.quit. So there is a difference between driver.close and driver.quit. We'll go ahead and we'll talk about in a separate scenario, in a separate session altogether. But just for your understanding purpose, see, this is my validation. This is my assert. So in test automation, how do we validate? You assert. Okay, there can be multiple assert as well. There can be more than one, more than 5 assert as well, no issues. But just for your understanding purpose, this is how we go ahead and assert. Fine. So this is the thing. Then keyword is specify expected result of the performed action. So how do I go ahead and do that? We write it like this. Okay, cool, helpful. And keyword is used to join one or more statements together into a single statement. See, and keyword is used to join one or more statements together into a single statement. This is how I'm joining. Okay, so how I'm joining? See, I'm joining. What I'm doing, I'm combining all my actions. Last name, email, password, birthday, checkbox. What I'm doing, I'm combining separate actions. Okay, cool, fine. So we'll come to the last question. What is the meaning of test runner class in Cucumber? See, test runner, this is my test runner. What it does, it creates a bridge between my feature file and my step definition. Where is my step definition? Glue. Again, glue is a keyword. So this is just for the interview purpose, guys. Just to make aware of what are the things that is being asked by the interviewers, by the senior people, by the management people while taking interviews. Please focus on this particular thing while giving interviews. However, to discuss detail on how to go ahead and define the step definition and how to map it on a runner class, we'll have a separate session altogether, because there are many things in Cucumber framework. The objective of this particular video was to go ahead and make you understand how to write BDD, how to write feature file, because writing a feature file itself is a skill. And after writing the feature file, the next step is to go ahead and automate. How do I automate? I use Cucumber framework. And what is the framework that we use? We use Cucumber framework, and on top of that we use POM. We use page object model. And for build automation tool, we use Maven. Okay. For reporting purpose, we use extent report, or you can use HTML report as well. Fine. And for how to go ahead and map the feature file and step definition, by using test runner class. So this should be the answer. What is test runner? I will go ahead, I'll map the feature file and step definition using test runner class. How to execute that? How do I execute? I'll execute using test runner class. Fine. I'll use using test runner class. Okay, so test runner class is a bridge. So this is the test runner class. Okay, this is how you should go ahead and answer to the interviewers. See, what is test runner class? Test runner class is used to provide the link between feature file and step definition file. How they would provide the link? They would provide the link by this thing. Okay, so see here I have used many keywords. I have plugin, I have monochrome, I have dried, and I have strict. So definitely we'll discuss more about this. But the objective of this video is to make you guys aware that how the interviewer asks or what are the general questions that I have. Cool. So that's how the thing is, and I wish all of you that you succeed all the all on all your BDD interviews on to concept like to grow that particular concept or to build that particular concept on your mind. That is very important, right? Knowledge is important. Keep increasing your knowledge. Keep learning, guys. That's how the IT world is all about. Keep learning. This is a very simple tool or a very simple methodology I would mention, or a very simple technique I would mention, or a very simple approach. It's a very simple approach. It's very simple. You just have to concentrate. That's it. You have to think using BDD. That's it. So I hope these 20 questions that I have shared with you has helped you a lot, and I have gathered all these questions through internet only. It's not that I have drilled down and I have written this, because it's all available on the internet. Nowadays internet is very powerful. What you have to do is you have to search quality content, right? And you have to apply your knowledge on that. That's it. Simple, guys. Please practice. That's the most important thing. Please practice, and I hope my ability to make you guys understand has helped you to build some concept. Fine. So thank you for sharing your valuable time.